O'clock with the latest BBC News for Oxfordshire. I'm Dan Freeman. Firefighters from across Oxfordshire are gathered at Oxford's County Hall to protest against proposed changes to the fire service. A consultation is currently underway with proposals to relocate crews away from larger stations and potentially closing 3 stations in the region. The Fire Brigade union's calling for the consultation to be scrapped, saying the changes would put lives at risk. Chris Johnson is a firefighter based at Reilly Road Station. He says they're making a stance against changes that they haven't had a say over.
We're not here because of pay or anything wanted for us. It's the fact that this is going to happen around Oxfordshire and the people of Oxfordshire. We don't think these are dangerous sort of cuts that are going to be coming our way and changes. And we hope we can renegotiate and talk to our senior leadership about how these things are going to affect us and them and the people around us and try and get something better for everyone.
The County Council says the recommendations are intended to improve day response times and welcome the ongoing engagement with the FBU over the plans.
10:15 on BBC Radio Oxford. Very good morning. Phil in for Adam today. So, firefighters from across Oxfordshire are gathering at the County Hall in Oxford to protest against proposed changes to the region's fire service. Our political reporter Victoria Walton is there, joins me now. Morning, Vic. Can you start by explaining a little bit more about what this is all about?
So this is about the remodelling of the fire service here in Oxfordshire. That's what the County Council would tell you. They run the fire service in this county. But the firefighters who are gathering today are calling them cuts, and they're saying that these changes, this remodelling of the service, will cause loss of life.
Sounds quite busy there. Is it quite a scale to the protest?
Yeah, there's a good turnout. I mean, I'm sure when you came in today you will have seen the weather was rubbish, and that certainly could have put off a few people, but not these firefighters. We've got around 80 of them here gathering. Some of them are in uniform, they've got flags, and they've come from up and down the country. I've spoken to a firefighter from North Wales who's had to deal with similar cuts in his patch. But this is really affecting the sort of south region, so it's not just Oxfordshire, it's Buckinghamshire as well. Well, the cuts are happening here in Oxfordshire. It's those impacts that are being felt on our neighbouring counties, so Berkshire as well, all the way down as far as Hampshire and the Isle of Wight. All of these fire brigades, these services are connected. They're a big family, and when something happens to one, the rest turn out, and it is impacting across the whole patch.
The devil is always in the details with these things, Victoria, so take us through the current proposals.
Yeah, so it is still under consultation, and that's really important, that these things haven't been decided yet. But essentially it's shifting around the resource so that it can be better used across the county. The things that are really upsetting the firefighters here are the removal or potential removal of 3 fire stations. Now, these are ones which are manned by these on-call firefighters, so people who have a normal day job and get buzzed when there might be an emergency. So those fire stations are Woodstock, Ensham and Henley. But there are also suggestions that some appliances, some engines might be removed from different stations. So, for example, Tame at the moment has 2 fire engines, but one is recommended for moving elsewhere. So it's about trying to redisperse all those resources so that they can be fit for purpose at the right time, and changing when people respond. So more firefighters available during the day than at night.
OK, so we can obviously hear around you the kind of reaction that's getting from firefighters. What's the council's response to all of this been?
You know, it's good to see there are councillors out here with the firefighters. I can actually see Liz Leffman now having a chat with someone. She's the leader of the county council. There's even people like Sean Gall, who is responsible for children's services, but he's here talking to the firefighters too. They're very keen to stress here that this decision has not been made yet. It is still under consultation. The fire service here is one big family. Rob McDougall heads it up, and he says he really, really wants to hear from the Fire Brigades Union and from firefighters. So they're saying, we're pleased you're here, speak to us, and this decision hasn't been made yet.
When will that decision be made, Victoria? Do we know?
Yeah, so the consultation has been running since October, so that's been going since the 28th, and then they're expecting to keep that open until the new year, into January, and you can have a look at that consultation on the Let's Talk Oxfordshire website.
Brilliant stuff. Victoria, I shall leave you to it in the middle of the protest there outside County Hall in central Oxford. Our political reporter, Victoria Walton.
It's 11 o'clock with the latest BBC News for Oxfordshire. I'm Dan Freeman. Firefighters in Oxfordshire have gathered to protest against proposed changes to fire service across the county. They're opposing plans to relocate crews away from larger stations, the potential closure of 3 stations and the removal of the on-call fire engine from Oxford's Rewley Road. Oxfordshire County Council's running a public consultation on the changes until the 20th of January. Heather Robinson is based at Didcot Fire Station. She says the threat of less firefighters at certain times is really concerning.
But what really concerns me is how's that going to affect at night time? We're going to have less cover at night, we're going to have less stations, and that's where the biggest risk is. That's where people are sleeping, and it's where they're, when people are asleep, they're not alert to be able to respond as effectively as if they were in the daytime.
The County Council says the recommendations are intended to improve day response times and welcome the ongoing engagement with the FBU over the plans. It's midday with the latest BBC News for Oxfordshire. I'm Dan Freeman. Firefighters from across Oxfordshire have gathered at Oxford's County Hall to protest against proposed changes to the fire service. A consultation is currently underway with proposals to relocate crews away from larger stations and potentially closing 3 stations in the region. The Fire Brigades Union is calling for the consultation to be scrapped, saying the changes would put lives at risk. Chris Johnson is a firefighter based at Rewley Road Station.
We're not here because of pay or anything wanting for us. It's the fact that this is going to happen around Oxfordshire and the people of Oxfordshire. We don't think these are dangerous sort of cuts that are going to be coming our way and changes. And we hope we can renegotiate and talk to our senior leadership about how these things are going to affect us and them and the people around us and try and get something better for everyone.
The County Council says the recommendations are intended to improve day response times and welcome the ongoing engagement with the FBU over the plans.
It's 1 o'clock with the latest BBC News for Oxfordshire. I'm Amanda Della. Good afternoon. Oxfordshire's firefighters are being told to prepare to take strike action over proposals which are claimed will put lives at risk. The County Council is currently running a consultation on changes which include the creation of 5 day shift fire engines in Wallingford, Farringdon, Witney, Bicester and Chipping Norton, and also the removal of the on-call fire engine from Oxford's Rewley Road. Chris Wycherley is an Executive Council member at the Fire Brigades Union. He says a meeting today has only resulted in more frustration.
Council leaders and senior managers have their head in the sand still. They're unwilling to pull the consultation, and we will be looking to actively pursue going down industrial relations mechanisms, and that could go up to and including industrial action for our members in Oxfordshire. That's the reality of what's in front of us.
Oxfordshire's Deputy Chief Fire Officer Mike Adcock says no decisions have been made and the views of residents and firefighters will be considered. It's 2 o'clock with the latest BBC News for Oxfordshire. I'm Amanda Della. Industrial action is to be discussed by Oxfordshire's firefighters after there was no breakthrough in talks between union bosses and fire service chiefs at Oxford's County Hall this morning. The Fire Brigades Union says that the proposals, which include plans to relocate crews away from larger stations and the potential closure of 3 stations, will put lives at risk across the county. Chris Wycherley is an Executive Council member at the FBU. He says they're ready to fight against the plans.
This is Austerity Mark II in the Fire and Rescue Service, with councils proposing and taking forward proposals which are should be deeply worrying to the public and are to our members and to firefighters. I'd say get ready to continue the fight, because this is what it is, it's a fight. This is a direct attack on firefighters and members of our communities, and we will not tolerate it.
Oxfordshire's Deputy Chief Fire Officer Mike Adcock says no decisions have been made and the views of residents and firefighters will be considered.